Argentina, my home country of Argentina, has fallen into default again. The collapse of talks with U.S. creditors sent Argentina into its second debt default in 13 years. Serious questions now about the Argentinian economy and other South American economies. There was this deadline to reach some kind of an agreement with holdout bondholders, and that just didn't happen. And there were concerns from the Argentinian economists about making deals with vulture capitalists, and there were concerns from the American side about what was going to be the structure of repaying these bonds. It's an absolute disaster, Lewis. And we've talked a little bit about Argentinian politics over the last few years, and I've made it pretty clear that I think the Argentinian president, Cristina Fernandez, is just a disaster. I mean, there's really no other way I can say it. But what's interesting is that I've gotten emails from people saying, David, talk a little bit more about politics in Argentina. I thought you've mentioned that your family is liberal, but at the same time that they're split over their opinion over the current president. There's this very interesting thing in Argentina and in other liberal South American countries where you have ostensibly, putatively liberal politicians, and there is still significant disagreement from factions of the left, because in countries like Argentina, there is a much broader left. In the US, you have a very centrist base, and you have people that are center right and center left, but the debate is far more narrow. And because in Argentina, you have such a broader left than you do in the United States, you can have a liberal elected official and have insane disagreement between liberals. And the other issue also, Lewis, is corruption, right? Which is corruption is so prevalent in a lot of these governments that you can have liberals who agree with the policies and ignore the corruption at odds with liberals who may agree with the policies but just are really against the corruption. So it's a very different dynamic. And it's interesting when I go down and visit, there are just liberal cousins and uncles and whatever who are just vehemently opposed to each other's views when it comes to the current president, who I happen to think is a disaster.
Total disaster. It seems there's no end to Argentina's economic woes and corruption problems. I just wonder what's going to happen. I mean, that's the issue. Like there's no way out.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. 13 years ago, things were really, really bad in the crisis of 2001. I don't know exactly what the future is here. I'm very concerned. And when I talk to people down in Argentina, my relatives, and you may not know this, there's no reason you would. But for example, if you want to travel to another country from Argentina, you have to essentially say where you're going, how long you're staying, and you're allowed to convert a certain amount of money into dollars and take it. And this is all based on the policy of fighting the dollarization of the economy and having people keep money in pesos, which of course the president doesn't do. She has all sorts of property and cash reserves in US dollars, but let's put that aside for a second. There is a tax on credit card purchases. So if you go and you spend money outside Argentina on your credit card, when you come back, you actually have a tax that can be as high as 20, 25. It's been fluctuating, and offhand, I don't remember where it is now. Fortunately, I'm not subject to this because I live in the US. You have a tax that is applied on the spending you do outside of the country. That's not a policy that is really going to turn the economy around. It is funding the government, yes, there's no question about that, but it's not a policy that's going to turn the economy around. And there's just huge concern right now, Lewis, about what to do. Let me give you another example. When my grandmother passed away, my mom and her siblings sold her apartment, right? Real estate transactions are basically done in cash. So they had to hire security to help them physically bring the cash from the office where the closing was done to wherever it was that they were keeping it. Because number one, the concept of mortgages, you just want to avoid mortgages altogether. People are dealing in cash. People are hiding money. There's a black market for cash. It's just a total disaster, the likes of which most Americans would never even be aware of the existence of.
Argentina is in a hole that it will take, if things start heading in the right direction, it will still take decades to crawl out of this mess.
Yeah, it is truly, truly sad, especially when you think about the Argentina that my mom grew up in, and even what it was in the 5 years that I lived there when I was born before I came here, of course, after the violent dictatorship. There were very good times in Argentina, times when Argentina was at the same place as Sweden and Canada in terms of its economy and potential going forward. Very, very far from that at this point.